I want to create my own sound, and I'm tired of every producer I hit up. They're like, "Oh, who do you sound like? Oh, what kind of music? J Cole? Okay, I'll send you a J Cole type beat."
Right.
But I'm like, no, 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 I don't want that.
We
I
don't
want
want
to
that.
like, no, I want to go in and I want to create something that's authentic to me and that caters to my sound and my delivery.
Yeah.
Go like locking in with them. I think I had the clarity, and I kind of was able to like just go in, and they're not pressuring me to make a so and so type beat or this sounds to the. They don't come from the hip hop world, so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is perfect. You know what I mean?
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Innersleeve Music Podcast, the podcast taking a behind-the-scenes look at all things music. I'm Cassius Morris, Joe Pacheco joining me on the line as per usual. What's going on, my friend?
Going great as per usual, man.
That's right, feeling good. And we're back for episode number 122 of the show. It's awesome to have you guys here, and it's awesome to be joined by Mouraine on today's episode of the podcast. Of course, a rapper from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, representing the city, representing Canada and the western part of the country, definitely making a name for himself, Joe. I mean, we spoke with him about his brand new record, In Search of Gold, which is out everywhere now. He was also just overseas on tour and just spreading that message and spreading that music.
And like I listened to the album again yesterday while I was working, and like man, he just has a knack of writing catchy stuff, man. Like hard to say. I mean, a lot of people can write catchy stuff, but there's just a way of him doing it, that I really enjoyed, and a great conversation.
100%. I've got the chance to see him live as well. He's a great performer. So we spoke all about that, all about the album that Joe was mentioning, and much, much more. So stay tuned for the guest portion of this show coming right up. Volbeat have announced the departure of guitarist Rob Caggiano after 10 years in the band. Now, this is really big news for Volbeat fans, but it appears that they have split amicably, according to this Facebook statement that they just put up on Monday. Now, the statement reads as follows. After 10 incredible years, we must sadly announce that Volbeat and Rob Caggiano have parted ways. During our time together, we've traveled the world, sharing great experiences, and released 4 albums that we are immensely proud of, and we wouldn't change a moment of it. We wish our brother Rob all the best with everything he does in the future. We know it's going to be great. And they continued on a little bit on Facebook. Now, this is nice to see, Joe, because when you look in the news at all these different bands that have been together for 40, 50 years, Motley Crue, the list goes on and on. A lot of them, when they decide to part ways, they do not do it amicably. And there's a lot of mudslinging back and forth in the press. I think it's really nice and actually refreshing in the world of metal now to see these guys coming out and doing this with class.
100% agree with you, man. Like, it's so refreshing, mature. I don't know, all the adjectives you could want, right? Like,
everything positive.
Yeah, it's cool, and like, even though like, no, I feel really weird because like I've always said I have to check out this band, and now there's like a major part of it changing. So it's gonna be interesting. I definitely have to dive into this catalog. Are you familiar with them, Volbeat?
I'm loosely aware because my best friend is like their biggest fan. So he sent me a lot of songs. I enjoy it. It's just, I think it's a little bit out of my spectrum of what I usually listen to, but incredible band, great production. That's one of the things with Volbeat. And apparently the live show is absolutely tremendous. They've also announced who's going to be filling in from Rob. So they say our good friend Fleming C. Lund from the Arcane Order is going to be jumping in to handle lead guitar during their 2023 shows. The other thing I noticed in this article and the statement, Joe, is that there was no reason actually provided for why he's leaving the band, which is sort of leads a lot to the imagination.
Yeah, look, it says here he's also over the years has garnered 5 Grammy nominations as a record producer, guitarist, has worked with a variety of artists. So look, he's worked with Anthrax, Cradle of Filth, The Damn Things, and all, Bruce Springsteen. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, it's heading into a career of production or songwriting, or what do we know? We're just speculating here, but it's true. There's no reason given, which is interesting because, like you said, it seems amicable and professional, man. Just like super pro. I really hate like seeing this Motley Crue crap going around. Like you said, mudslinging is just like, it just degrades the whole thing, the whole experience. Yeah. I mean, look, it's normal. Like, we're all human, right? So people don't always get along and stuff. But man, think of the fans and like just show a better, a little bit more class, like this.
You got to honor what you guys built together, so definitely respect to Volbeat for handling it the way they do. It looks like fans are still having a lot to look forward to on the 2023 tour. Let us know what you think down below in the comments. Tool have announced their 2023 North American tour dates, and fans in America and Canada are absolutely thrilled to be seeing the band live in concert. And it looks like this is going to be quite a large tour, Joe.
Yeah, man. I missed the 2019 one. So when I saw this come across my feed, I was like, oh, good. Finally, I'm excited about a show again, I've seen them twice now. And I don't know, it's just like we always say, right? Like Tool for me just sounds like one big album that just,
right. It never ends.
It just sounds so consistent and good. And it's just a band that provokes, like, I don't know what it is in me that, like, I'm excited again, like when the new album was coming out after 13 years of not having an album, and it made the impression it did, right? It still took off, man. So, like, kudos to these guys. I don't know what magic, who they signed the deal with, the devil.
Yeah.
They're just like, always keeping it classy and always like just killing it. So I'm extremely excited to catch them here in November.
It's going to be awesome. I caught the 2019 tour actually, and it was really cool to see. And actually, Joe, I think I mentioned this once on the show, but the cheapest concert ticket I've ever got in my life. People would always tell me back in 1985, I saw Def Leppard for $17 at the Palladium or whatever. Well, I got the ticket for this show, guys, fees and everything, for I think it was like $27 after I got my ticket. And then I ended up sneaking my way up to the front in the lower bowl. So yeah, it was an awesome show. It was my first time ever seeing Tool live on tour. There's a little bit of a riddle for you. And basically, man, my friends who were big Tool fans told me, you got a good show. So, hopefully, everybody else here is going to be getting good shows. What's interesting to me, Joe, is that, Tool released their first album in 13 years, like you said, Fear Inoculum. And now they're going out on tour. They have such a cult following. They don't even need a new album or any new music to go on tour. They can just go on tour for no reason.
A lot of these big bands don't even need to put out an album, right? So I kind of respect that they still work at it and still put together an album. But like in this case, no, you don't need to. This feels like a continuation of what they didn't accomplish in 2019, I'm assuming, or 2020, because I'm assuming everything got locked down.
Let us know if you're going to go see Tool live in concert in the comments. The Fugees have reunited for the first time since their fallout on stage at the Roots Picnic, as member Pras is facing a 20-year prison sentence. Now, Wyclef Jean and Lauryn Hill joined Pras on stage, and this was actually at Lauryn Hill's concert. So the three of them came on stage performing all of the classic Fugees hits, from Killing Me Softly. There was a lot of songs played that night, Joe. They actually did How Many Mics, Fuji La, Ready or Not. It looks like the fans got their money's worth.
Absolutely, man. That would be like, you're going to see Lauryn Hill, which is already something interesting, right? Because I don't think she tours as regularly anymore. And then all of a sudden Wyclef, and then, yeah, it's pretty trippy. You definitely got your money's worth on this show. I didn't know that. Like, I'm reading into this. Like, I don't know why he's going to jail, kind of thing. Like for 20 years seems pretty serious. But witness tampering. Oh, okay, look at this conspiracy, witness tampering, failing to register as an agent of foreign nation.
Oh wow. Okay, so he's facing some pretty serious charges. What is it with the Fugees, Joe? Because I feel like they should have enough people around them to keep them out of trouble.
Dude, like, I don't know. That's a good question, man.
You would think.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't control people. You can only control a certain amount of what they do or say, right? So, yeah, anyway, I don't know. We don't know if this goes back to stuff from before the Fugees, right? Like, it could have happened. Could be stuff that they're trying to get him for a long time. Another thing I didn't know is that Wyclef was in a wheelchair or was sick here, and it said, sometimes we forget, he says, sometimes we forget to take care of our body, that our body is our temple, so admitting that he wasn't taking proper care of himself, be back soon. Have you ever, like, I don't know, once listened to a podcast, I forgot on who was being interviewed or what show it was, and it was a Wyclef thing. And to be honest, like, I liked Wyclef from the Fugees, I like Wyclef, some of his solo stuff, but it's not someone I was like, it's not like I'm gonna dig into a movie about him and stuff, but man, hearing his story and where he came from,
yeah,
the success that he's achieved, and like, I mean, he literally came from dirt. Like he himself, it was just dirt roads, dirt this, dirt that, and look, took over the world pretty much. So
it's insane. Yeah, I heard him on the Howard Stern show when he went on there, and he played a couple songs, and man, just phenomenal appearance. And it really opened my eyes to a whole new thing. And, it's cool to see, too, that he was able to patch it up with Lauryn Hill. Him and Lauryn Hill had a massive fallout. And, he was in love with this woman. And then he found out, she was married and having a child with another man. So it's like, that's something that most people would never come back from. Right. So it's good to see again. I like reporting on some good news today, Joe. People are, coming together. Everything's amicable. This is rare in music.
Yeah, good point. We did. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but we didn't. I don't use good feeling stories, but yeah, definitely. And plus, it's true because our guest is also a good story as well. Like that came from nothing. So this is what makes me believe the universe takes care of us, kind of thing. It just guides us, and we just follow. But definitely, hey, I was wondering if anybody out there, if anybody listening or watching this attended the show. I was fortunate enough to attend the show. Let us know what it was like in the comments. Definitely.
Yeah, let us know. Hopping over to the SoundMojo Community tab. Of course, this is the spot where we post different polls and questions to find out what you guys are listening to. And here we asked Bad Bunny versus Justin Bieber.
Our audience picked 55% for Justin Bieber and 45% for Bad Bunny.
This sounds about right. I would say these guys are almost on an equal tier of popularity, but Justin Bieber has to be a little more popular just due to how long he's been famous.
I would agree, man. Like, this is definitely down the middle, and as I see it, and yeah, definitely because Bieber's been around like what?
It's been like 15 years now.
I have a lot of respect for Bieber, and what he's like. From what I've seen, if you go watch the Baby until now, like it's funny. I got to see a young man grow up, and with all the shenanigans and like all that crazy fame to like now seemingly very mature person.
My prediction for Bad Bunny is that he will reach Justin Bieber level within about 5 years. I think, he's fairly new to America in the last 5. I think the next 5 is going to be huge for Bad Bunny. And he's already out here breaking records.
Exactly. Some of these things have like 1.6 billion streams on Spotify alone. It's pretty crazy. Like, I know of him. I've heard about him for like the last couple of years now, but I wouldn't even be able to name you a song. It's just not something that's, that I listen to every day kind of thing.
I have probably 5 songs on my Spotify. So that's what I would say. I enjoy his music quite a bit. Oh, here we go. 7 songs. I corrected. But yeah, let's see what the comments are saying. Hopping over to Jason Harris. I honestly don't know how to choose. I know Bad Bunny has bangers, but because I don't speak or understand much Spanish, I don't really know what his lyrics are. Justin Bieber, on the other hand, has become a pretty good singer as his career got deeper, but his songwriting structure has never really been good. Interesting.
Well, it's funny because I was going to say I should have just repeated what he said before because he pretty much, verbatim, except for the songwriting structure, which I don't even know. I mean, I know the kid, he's a kid. I still call him a kid. I know he's a good stuff, but I mean, he's got a team of writers. Like, I mean, he's got, like, I wouldn't necessarily put that on him, but I mean, anyways, he hasn't been doing too badly.
Yeah. And I don't think he necessarily even writes his own songs. So yeah, you're right there. I can't do it, says Rick Castillo. Rick, we feel you, man. It's pretty tough if you like both. Here Unjits, our friend here. Hi here. I don't know Bad Bunny, but when the other choice is Justin Bieber, I take the unknown. Oh, come on here.
Hey man, he's allowed. Mateo, Bud Light Music. Ernest Fonz, I guess. If my eyes don't deceive me. Justin sings, Bad Bunny doesn't.
Oh, that's not true, but okay.
Yeah. Ruby Troy, ton of crying
emojis.
Thumbs up, yes. Chillasper or Chilsper? Chilsper. Effing neither.
All right. Well, I guess the third wild card answer for that one. Chilsper, it looks like some people agreed with you. So listen, some people like both, some people like neither. Ultimately, we want to know what you guys think. Let us know down below in the comments. Here we ask, which 90s R&B group had the best harmonies? TLC, Boys to Men, Destiny's Child, or In Vogue?
Our audience picked 58% for Boys to Men, 14% for Destiny's Child, 13% for En Vogue, and 15% for TLC.
I think it's pretty hard to compete with Boys to Men when it comes to harmonies. I mean, these guys are pretty much the harmony kings. If the question was phrased differently, maybe we would have seen a different answer.
I agree with you, but the thing is, you couldn't go anywhere in the '90s and not hear Boys to Men, especially the mid to late '90s. It was just they set the standard. I mean, there's so many of these groups, right? So many, and they're all fantastic singers. I mean, just the ones listed here are all fantastic, but the ones that obviously we only have 4 options, so I can't add more. But yeah, they definitely took this one. I think it's fair enough to say, I guess.
Who would you say for your personal taste?
Personal taste, TLC basically, because it's just so cool. They've been around for a long time. Waterfalls is a great song. But in this little, choice here, I would say En Vogue, only because of that song. Somebody left the album at my studio, and I put it in. I said, let's give it a listen. And I forgot, Don't Let Go. Man, when I heard that, it was like, it mixed the 90s, R&B kind of sound with a bit of extra, like almost rock guitar, so it sounded more raw, more rock, and obviously that appealed to me. So I really love that song. And I checked now, and it's like it's the biggest streaming one on Spotify, which is surprising because of their first hit, Never Gonna Get It, which is like a classic for sure.
Definitely awesome stuff. A new group to me, actually, from this poll. So you guys have turned me on to something brand new. I would have to go with Boys to Men, though. I found out about them young because my parents got married to their music. So they played me that song young, telling me about the wedding. So I always have fond memories of Boys to Men, and they maybe helped to me being here. So, hey, there you go. Shout out to Boys to Men. Hopping over to our guest segment for today's show. As mentioned off the top, we're joined by Mouraine, joining us out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. One of the top rappers in the scene, making a name for himself overseas and all across the globe. Talks to us about visiting his home country of Sudan. Talks to us about making his music, his lyricism. Definitely a great conversation overall, Joe, and definitely very eye-opening as well.
I really enjoyed this talk, just for the gratitude aspect of it and all that stuff. I really enjoy that stuff. I love it when people realize how lucky we are, and just let's be grateful, like the positive spirit of things.
100%. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation, and we'll catch you guys right afterwards.
No, I can't settle for nothing but the gold. I turn my life to highs from the lows. I want the money, the cars, and the clothes, or whatever it is they got in the store. I can't settle for nothing but the gold. I turn my life to highs from the
Mouraine,
lows.
what's happening?
I'm good. How are you, man? I tried to find a quiet place in time, but it's the quietest I could get. Sorry, guys.
You're good. It looks
We're
good.
good.
Okay.
You're
good.
everywhere, bro. We're everywhere. This is interview number 3.
Yes, every time. I love seeing you every time, bro.
We love it, dog. So what are you saying right now? Are you looks like you're outside type of deal?
Yeah. I was just had another meeting, just with the team and stuff. But
Awesome,
I was
brother.
enjoying a coffee, and then I realized I have an interview, and I was like, oh shit, that one I probably need a quiet space for. So
Love it, dog. Listen, you're celebrating In Search of Gold, of course, the brand new record that dropped on May 5th. You've had some touring action too going on, man. Overseas,
Yeah.
talking, tell us about that, man. UK.
yeah, we just did a couple UK dates. It was just part of a few showcases. We did Focus Wales, which is a festival conference, and The Great Escape. And in between, we kind of squeezed in a couple London shows. So yeah, it was pretty lit, man.
Was that your first time over there, or was that like something you'd done before?
No, it's probably my first time I've done shows out there like that, So yeah, I've been there before, but it wasn't official.
What's the main difference between going just as a tourist and actually performing? Like, what are the vibes, in that sense?
I mean, it's kind of cool when you get to travel places for the sake of just doing your art. You know what I mean? And you're out there and people are receiving that and being in front of a crowd that just knows you for your music, or they're there just to listen to music and stuff. So you get a better experience, I think, because you get to meet people. When you're a tourist, you're just, you're gonna go see buildings, but it's not the same, not the same.
Yeah, plus it's
You
not
get to
like
actually feel the energy of the people. Sorry.
it's okay. It's not your friends and family that are always, it's a completely new independent crowd, right?
Exactly.
They also say that London is the biggest city for hip hop. Did you really feel that when you're in London?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Every single one of our shows was just packed, and even the ones like we did one headline just in London, but the one prior to was in Focus Wales, where people were just there for like every show I was part of in those festivals was hip hop showcases.
Nice.
And yeah, so the fact that like you come through, you perform, and then you're also like taking in other acts that are from there or from other places in the world, and everyone's so dope.
Yeah.
Man, 100%. I mean,
So
you know,
yeah, definitely a lot of hip hop and a lot of love for hip hop and a lot of appreciation for hip hop.
yeah, it seems abundant over there, man. I mean, you know, one of the big things that I think sets you apart too as an artist who's out here touring in these spaces is you're locked in with good management. You know, you got a good publicity team. You know, maybe talk to us about how that affects the touring process, because it must make things a whole hell of a lot easier and better.
100%, bro. I was lucky enough to have or fortunate enough to have my manager out there with me with like just the liaison and making sure everything is booked, all your travels taken care of. You know what I mean? Like the small details and the small things that could pop up in the, because screw ups are gonna happen, but it's so hard to like try to focus on that and at the same time like stay in the zone and wanting to like put on a good show. You know what I mean? When like you're like, oh, but I'm about to perform, but I need, oh shit, we forgot this or we forgot the CDs. Oh, we didn't set up this thing. Where's the drinks? You know what I mean? Like It's so nice to have a team of support like behind you, you know? And having publicity is obviously like, you know, we're here because of that. I think a team is very important in everything you do. Teamwork is super crucial and it's super important. It's good to have like, for me, I'm lucky enough to have a team of good individuals and like-minded people around me. So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. Did you mostly put together your crew sort of after you really started getting deep with the music, or are these people that you knew before you really started getting serious and then you sort of brought them into your musical life?
I think it was more after I started getting serious
Nice.
is when I put together a team. You know, coming up in Edmonton, I started doing music really young. So a lot of my friends didn't understand that like, oh, I could be a manager and you know what I mean? I didn't have that like support of people that just wanted to be behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where when me and my friends started rapping, everybody else was rapping. You know what I mean?
And everybody wants to be the star. They don't even think that there's other roles in it, right?
Exactly, you know? And then like fast forward now, none of them are rapping. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, oh, well, they could have just taken the roles that they see fit, like if one wanted to be a manager, one wanted to be a publicist, one wanted to, you know what I mean? We would have had that team, but I think starting so young, we didn't have that vision. We just wanted to do music. But once I started taking it seriously and as a career is when everything shifted for me. And that's when I realized, okay, I need to bring people in on my team. It's a business. I need a manager. I need a person for the marketing. I need a person for, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How did you go about like sourcing the right team, the right crew? Like, is it through experience, word of mouth?
Yeah. For locking it with my manager and my label, I met my manager. I think it's just being at the right places at the right time. And I had to make sure I was there first before I was able to meet these people. Like my manager, I met my manager at it's a Canada Music Incubator program, like a mentorship program called Passport Music Export Summit. So they select like 10 export ready artists from across Canada, and they took us to Halifax and they offered us like a mentorship program. And they taught us like the whole game, you know what I mean? Like here's how to tap into different markets. Here's the Germany market, here's South America, here's the UK. Wow. So like they're like, this is good entry points here. You know what I mean? It's up to you to act on that, but it was just more of like giving us game and gems. My manager was one of the the teachers or the mentors.
Yeah, okay.
So we just connected naturally, and she was able to kind of see the potential, and I was able to see the potential in her. You know what I mean? So we kind of like, she didn't know like many hip hop at the time. She was just done managing this indie group called the Sheepdogs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so she was managing the Sheepdogs at the time. But then that was coming to an end where she wasn't tapped into the hip hop world when I was like, yo, listen, I'm very tapped in the hip hop world. Don't worry about that. You know management. You know how to take this and make
Exactly.
it professional. So let's just team up and let's just figure a project out. And that's kind of how we started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's
and
nice.
you're off
It's
from there.
nothing beats an organic relationship like that, you know?
Nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Yeah. And that's how I am. I'm all about like organic connections. And I think like everything in life that you do comes from like, or like, you know, even friendships come from like organic connections. You know, you can't force, you know, you can't be like, oh, you want to be my friend? It's more like, yo, you just, even as a kid, you know, you're just chilling at the park and some kid starts playing with you and all of a sudden you guys
Exactly.
are best friends for life, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I like that you
Yeah.
said also the fact that she's good at what she does doesn't necessarily mean that she has to know the history of hip hop or anything like that. She's just good at what she does. So you have like
That's
it's like
it.
you're like a hockey coach, right? You got your
Yeah.
defenseman, you got your goalie, you got your you know. Anyways,
Yeah, bro. You just got to specialize with everybody. And that's the point of a team, right? Like a team, like
Yeah.
you said, it's made out like that. You mentioned the coaching aspect or even the player aspect. Like a defensive player is just a defensive player, and his job is to play defense. A forward, he's got to score. You know, a center,
That's
he's
it.
got to connect those guys. If everyone just knows their positions and their roles, add that into like a team element. That's the formula to success, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it makes things
Yeah.
a lot easier, man. How about social media and you know, marketing in that way? What were some of the biggest things you've learned about how to market yourself through socials?
I honestly, I still struggle with that. I still struggle with that, but I think it's more like it's also pretty organic. I think where for me, I try to be very. I don't know. I've been trying to be very detailed, like very personal, and like actually like bring people in and connect with people and show them who I truly am. But it's very hard to share that with the world. You know what I mean?
No.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I want to keep some shit to myself. You know what I mean? Where a lot
You're
of
allowed.
people's advice is, "Yo, just be vulnerable, man. Let people know." But I'm like, nah, I want to keep shit to myself too. You know,
for sure.
I want people. Yeah, so I still struggle with social media. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best, but my social media looks good just because I'm tech savvy.
That's
You know
it.
what
Yeah.
I mean?
And you got the team and you got the vision. And I mean, I don't think we've interviewed one artist about their social presence who feels like they have it figured out. Like, right, Joe? I feel like most artists are
Yeah.
still feeling confused about it because it is like relatively new within the last 10 years, the way that we're promoting ourselves over socials.
Yeah,
But
this is
yeah,
different. It's weird, bro. It's different. It's like the amount of content we're consuming or even creating. That shit was
Yep.
never seen before.
never. It's
Yeah,
unlike anything we've ever had. But I mean, I've seen you posting a lot of your travels. Obviously, you
yeah,
posted a lot of the UK. You visited Sudan as well, correct?
yeah. That was like 2019, beginning of 2019. It was just before we had a revolution and stuff, so it was just before that.
Awesome. And what did you take from that trip? I mean, that must have been quite a trip.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was one of the first times I've like kind of like went back home and going to see how the world is or how everything is set up there as an adult. It's life changing. You know what I mean? Where you're like, I take so many things for granted being out here.
Oh,
You know
100%.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something as simple as like clean drinking water.
Right.
What we
A
have the Nile
toilet.
River, we have a toilet. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have like the Nile, which is nice fresh water and it's amazing. One of the largest rivers in the world, but access to it is the problem, and
Right.
we don't have the infrastructure. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, man, a toilet, like straight up, bro. Like
Simple as that, man.
Seriously,
I'm
some
telling
people, yeah. If you don't really have like money out there, you don't have, you know what I mean? Like you go like just a little bit outside the capital, bro.
and people take it for
It's
granted.
it's the medieval world. That's how they
Yeah.
operate, you know.
At what age did you come to Canada?
I was about 10 years old,
Okay.
and before
So,
that, I was in Egypt,
okay, so
Okay.
then when you went back, you were what? How old were you when you went back to Sudan?
like 26, 27,
Okay.
26, 25.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. I mean, I'm a privileged guy. I've been born and raised in Canada, so I've missed
yeah,
nothing in life. So it's really cool to hear, like, you know, when someone came from that and went back, and then you realize, like, wow, like it's like you said,
yeah. Because
medieval.
you forget.
Yeah. It's easy.
You forget how much access, like we complain about small things, like the
Yeah.
smallest things where people are like, people would die to be in like your position. Is the crazy part. Like literally die, like real life die to be in your position. You know, there's some people trying to cross the ocean, they run across the desert to like flee the country or whatever to just make it there. You know, like
Yeah. I've heard some nasty stories, man, of people having to flee in the middle of the night, and it's crazy.
yeah,
We
man.
definitely take it for granted here. Definitely.
Yeah, just peace, just having the opportunity to say, oh, I could be what I want to be, or but you have a choice to be whatever you want, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like you have the choice to sleep in today. You know,
That's
some
true.
people don't, because if they don't go out today, they're not gonna eat.
That's it.
That's
Do you
it. That's
think
why-
There's no food in the fridge, bro.
It's first
Yeah,
world
bro.
problems, you know?
That's the first world problems, basically. Yeah, man. And
No question at all.
I definitely took a lot of that and I try to put that in my music as well. So even in Search of Gold, I kind of put that in, like in the song Tonight. I speak a little bit about my immigration stuff, immigration stories, and all of that. So yeah.
Girl, I'm sick of your love and it's the same old story. Thinking you love and this is something for me. You tell me you love me, tell me you hate me. How you tell me you love me, then you tell me you hate me. Girl, I'm sick of your love and it's the same old story.
You feel like you still would have done music in the way you are now if you would have never moved out of Sudan?
No, probably not.
Or could you have? That's the real question, right?
Exactly. I think my priorities would be different. Where the thing is, there's a lot of people that are very educated that come from that world because they take that very seriously. You know what I mean? So I'm like, maybe I could have done something else. I probably would have tried to, like, you know, that's if I would have made it out.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's funny because I always say, you know, how do we know that, like, example, just education, just schooling to level the playing field between all these countries. How do we know that somebody in Sudan or wherever it may be, right, it didn't have the opportunity to go to school, college, university, and learn, and that person could be the person that solves cancer or figures out something, but because they didn't have the opportunity to do it, well, we're all shooting ourselves in the foot then, basically, you know?
Yeah, no, straight up, man. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And it's whack also, like, there's people who come out here that are like my parents' generation or whatever. They come out here and they're not, some are like doctors, bro. Some are engineers.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's what they studied. But their degrees, because it comes from like back
That's what
there,
I mean.
it's just not accredited. So then they're stuck driving a cab. Next time you take a taxi or an Uber, bro, ask them what they like, where they're from or whatever, and just be like, oh, what did you study? And they'll be like, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, or
That's true.
you know, I have my master's in whatever.
All that,
you know?
all that wasted brain power. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, it could be put to use out here, you know. But
Yeah.
That's why
man,
we got to show the love when we can. Now, you know, obviously, In Search of Gold is something brand new for you. Maybe talk to us about how this differs from your debut record.
I think with this one, I tried to just dig a little bit deeper and become just get vulnerable and like not be scared to share some stories, and also whether it's like immigration or transitioning out here in this Western world, or love stories and whatnot. But I also tried to experiment a little bit more and explore my creativity and my artistry a little bit. I took a chance and like even trying to sing a little bit more and get a little more vibey, where before I was like, I always wanted to, you know, being a rapper, you always want to impress, you know, you want to show your credibility, your bars,
Right.
you know, I'm like, yo,
It's
I'm a
always
rapper.
at the front of
Check out
mind.
my skills. It's, you know, about how fast you're, or like, here's my wordplay. And this, I tried to like, take it a step back and like focus on the delivery of the message and actually say something rather than say something that just sounds cool, you know?
It's funny because just before we got on, I was talking with Cassius, and I'm like, you know, I heard the album before it came out because of, you know, in preparation for the interview, and then I'm telling Cassius, like, is this stuff blowing up on the radio because everything sounds really good and familiar, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's what. So like the fact that you put in that effort to just like make it more, like honest. It came across to me anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm happy it did. Yeah, it was definitely the goal and the effort was to actually try to get creative, worry about being an artist and
Mm.
sharing a message rather than like trying to prove my skill. Where I feel like I got it was an obstacle that I had to get over as a rapper, as an artist coming from my city, trying to prove like, oh, yo, I'm the best rapper. Check out my bars. Now I'm like, wait a minute. The only people you impress with showcasing your skills is other rappers. Where if you just sit there and deliver the message, then you're actually connecting with the people.
You're singing for the song, not necessarily for like their skills and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the melodies definitely it opens it up more as well. I mean, how long in the making was this project? Like, how many months or weeks did it actually take you to put this together?
Well, I recorded it in Winnipeg because the producer duo Deadman, they're from Winnipeg, so we went to their studio and we locked in the studio for like 2 to 3 weeks with me and my brother Moto and the Mats. They're both Mats. So we got locked in, recorded everything, but the post production of everything took about like a year and a half, like just tightening everything up, the mixing, yeah, exactly. Even like going back in and exactly. So
do you write like, I know obviously you write your bars and stuff, but like music wise, you make your own beats, you do the instrumentation?
No, I don't. Where with this one, I had a little bit more of a say because I was actually in the room for those 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And like, oh, yo, no, let's use this. Oh, what about this melody? So but I don't physically play anything now.
Okay.
But I do have the ear.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing, right? And to be hands-on in the process.
Yeah. It makes
That's
a
pretty
huge
cool.
difference, man.
I'm the one that's big dog. All I speak is big talk. You ain't got this type of sauce. I'm the one that's big dog. All I speak is big talk. You ain't got this type of sauce. Young nigga on the come up. Thought that I was on. Hold up, waiting for the summer.
How did you select Deadmen? Did you find them randomly, or was it somebody that you'd been wanting to work with?
Nah, they're actually label mates.
Okay, there you
so
go.
They're on Birthday Cake. Yeah, so they're on Birthday Cake Records. They never did a hip hop project before, but I was really like a fan of what they did, production wise and other stuff. And I was like, yo, like I want to create my own sound, and I'm tired of like every producer I hit up, they're like, oh, who do you sound like? Oh, what kind of music? J. Cole? Okay, I'll send you a J. Cole type beat.
Right.
So I'm like, no, I don't want that.
We don't want that.
No, I want to go in and I want to create something that's authentic to me and that caters to my sound and my delivery. So that's locking in with them. I think I had the clarity and I kind of was able to like just go in and they're not pressuring me to make a so-and-so type beat or this sounds they don't come from the hip hop world. So I was like, this is perfect. You know what I mean? And I got to kind of, I think with this album, I created my own sound where it's like, yo, you can go ahead and listen to it. And like, I'm sure there's like influences just because who I am as a human being and what I listen to and what I consume. But I don't think there's one where you're like, oh, this song sounds exactly like so-and-so,
No,
100%.
No, I found a good balance between like R&B, it's a good balance, and it's cool because like it's true because if you take somebody who that's what I do, that's all he's going to be able to do. Where you went outside the box and got a fresh perspective, So they did hip hop with their approach and your guidance, So it definitely makes for a fresh sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how would you say? I mean, in terms of moving forward, that this whole type beat culture is going to affect hip hop because like we're in a weird spot where up until now, everybody had to make their own sound. But in the last 10 years, everybody's sort of taking off on other artists' sounds. Do you think it's going to dilute the originality there? Because I kind of see it doing that in a way.
Yeah. That's a good question, bro. Because I'm also like, I'm guilty of like, when searching for beats, I used to do that, but I don't do that.
We have to though, because it's
it's the closest you can find to whatever you're trying to find when you're trying to catch a vibe, right?
Yeah.
I feel like producers should try to be more original, and instead of creating type beats, I think they should create beats that's authentic to them. You know what I'm saying? And because back in the days, I feel like producers like that made a name for themselves, like Pharrell, Timbaland, or whatever. Timbaland wasn't making I don't know, Missy type beat, or I
Right.
don't know who Timbaland, Justin Timberlake type beat. He just made a Timberland beat and
Yeah.
brought in Justin Timberlake, and they created a project. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's how it works, you know. Or Pharrell, the Neptunes, or whatever. They weren't making such and such type beat. They just decided to be authentic to themselves. So I think producers and rappers need to like collaborate together, come together, and or rap, even just not just rappers, but like just musicians in general, come together and create. Instead of like, for me, I stopped looking for YouTube beats and type beats. I go to the producer and I'm like, yo, no, let's lock it in the studio and let's make a beat together.
Which must
You know what I
actually,
mean?
it must give you such, a bigger element of control, like you're saying, and also originality as well.
Originality, and authenticity. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because whatever you do in that studio is going to be true to who you are and what you actually vibed with at the time.
No
It's interesting
question.
because like the type beat thing, it's like when you search for those hashtags, that's what comes up the
Right.
biggest. You're gonna hit what comes up the biggest, you know. So it's kind of like
And
for a
yo,
producer. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
No, I was just gonna say for a producer, it's kind of like even as an artist, like if you want a hashtag on Instagram, you're gonna have to put something that gets the most eyeballs to view your content, you know. So it's like
You know, one
almost
thing
like
I found,
yeah,
when I hear different artists, I go listen to an artist and I'm like, I know this beat.
Exactly.
And then you listen to
man.
another artist and they use the same beat. They both leased the beat and they just made their own song. I'm like, what's the point, bro?
It's insane.
that's an issue because when somebody Shazams that, whose song does it show up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which whose
Seriously.
song? I think it's whoever has the exclusive rights to it will end up
Yeah.
happening.
At least modify it a bit so that it's a little more original to yourself, to your song, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the thing, man.
100%.
What's-
And but you to be able to do that, you have to get the beat exclusively. I think that's one thing like hip hop is lacking, is like people are not like, everybody's a rapper nowadays, and it's so easy to become an artist and a rapper. So it's easy for them to like get the beat off YouTube, rip it off, or lease it for like $50 off of BeatStars.
Yeah.
Instead of like just pay your producer, like invest in yourself, bro. Like pay that extra $300 and own the beat. For my Bigger Dreams EP, I bought I bought out all the beats. They were like YouTube beats, so some of them and stuff, but I bought them exclusively.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Speak
saying? I
out to
bought
do.
them exclusively, so I owned the rights for them. And Do That Dance ended up getting a Foot Locker commercial. So if I didn't own the
Huge.
beat for that, if I didn't own the
Yeah.
beat for Do That Dance, I would, like, when it came time to get that commercial, I
You
would
would
have had
skip.
nothing out of it, and the beat belongs to the producer. I don't
Yeah.
own it. I leased it. I won't even be able to lease it, license it out to them.
Yeah.
You know, and
Nightmare.
it came from actually like taking that extra $500-600 and investing it in myself. And I'm like, well, I see the potential in this, so here's, let me get the full rights, bro.
Yeah, it's funny because I've had issues with artists when we like for SoundMojo this channel where people we promote some artists and they're like, oh, I got the beat but I didn't pay for it and this and that, but so we can't really upload it. I'm like, well, how much is the beat? He's like $30. I'm like, dude, you can't invest $100 in yourself. Like, invest in yourself, man.
They
Yeah,
can't, man.
man.
It's insane.
Yeah,
But I
man.
think it's also
No,
because
they
the
can.
barrier of
They
entry
can.
is free.
They can. They don't want to.
Yeah, that's it.
They can.
They don't want
$30, bro. Come
But
on,
you know
man.
what?
You go out for a drink,
Yeah. Oh,
that's
it's over.
$100 when you go out with a couple
Exactly.
homies. Come on.
The-
And they do it every weekend, right? No, but that's the thing. It's different than other music though, because like with the guitar, there is a barrier of entry that's financial. It's $50 to $100 to get a guitar. With drums, with piano, it's all the same. But with rap, you just start rapping, and some people think that's enough, right? So, but you have to
Yep.
invest in your craft. It's just that simple.
Yep. You have to invest in yourself. That's money, time, effort, energy, everything, I don't think it's a big problem because it helps kind of like it separates and who's
That's what I was
serious
gonna
and who's not. When you're investing in yourself, you're gonna stand out. It's obvious.
That's true.
There's no guarantees, but it'll definitely eliminate all the bottom feeders and the way people waste your time.
100%.
Yeah, definitely true. Speaking of rap, real quick, who do you find yourself listening to the most lately, Mouraine? I've seen you posting Wheezy, so that's probably on the list.
Yeah, actually, that's funny. Yeah, I actually just downloaded all the Carters on my
Nice.
Spotify, and I was like, let me take a trip down memory lane a little bit. And I was
Honestly,
bumping a lot of Lil Wayne. I listen to a lot of Mozzie right now.
nice.
Um, there's this guy named Don Trip from Memphis. Um, what else am I listening to? I don't know, man. I listen to a lot.
A lot of shit. I can never answer when somebody asks me. It's like it all flies out of my head the second I start to answer.
Yeah. There's just
And then
too
we'll hang
many,
up
bro.
and you'll come up with all
And
of
now
them.
we have access, bro. Now we have access to listen to whoever we want to at any given moment, bro. Like, so I could be, you know?
It's beautiful, man. Never
Yeah.
been a better time. Even when we were friggin' kids, man, it was CD stores and you know what I mean? Now within our lifetime, everything changed.
Yeah. Yeah. To
It's
be able to
insane,
listen to
dude.
music like portable like that, like you could go anywhere and have it in your ear. You know, even just with a CD, that was nice, but you were
Yeah.
also limited to carrying a certain amount of CDs, you know?
For sure.
MP3s,
Skipping.
and now took it to the next level.
I used to drop $100, every couple of weeks because I'd go buy 3-4 CDs. There's $100. Whereas now, $100 all year long, you have all the music you could ever want.
Yeah, bro. $100 a year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So imagine.
That's it.
It's like it's a
insane.
no-brainer.
And speaking of
Yeah.
streaming, we want everybody to go stream In Search of Gold, which is out everywhere now.
Yes,
the
please.
new record by Mouraine. We're going to have all the links down below in the description. And Mouraine, we appreciate it, man. What's coming up next for you, man? Anything else you want to let the people know or about where they could find you?
Yeah, find me on all socials, you know, Mouraine.com, at Mouraine _ on Instagram and all across other social media platforms. Yeah, please go stream. Preferably go on Bandcamp and actually buy
That's right.
the project. We're gonna have
Yep.
CDs coming soon, so if you want to like order the actual disc, just to have it. I know no one has a CD player anymore, so but
Good
yeah,
to hang up or some shit.
Yeah,
Good decoration. Well, listen, we appreciate it, Mouraine. Thank you, man, and keep killing it, dude, for real.
no, I appreciate you. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support always, and you know,
Awesome, brother.
super
Thank
grateful
you
to
very
be a
much.
part of this show.
No, 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 no. I can't settle for nothing but the gold. I turn my life to highs from the lows. I want the money, the cars, and the clothes, or whatever it is they got in the store. I can't settle for nothing but the gold. I turn my life to highs from the lows.
Huge shout out to Mouraine for joining us on episode number 122 of the Innersleeve Music Podcast. I got to tell you, Joe, you know, looking back on this conversation, the fact that Mouraine is so grateful for where he's at now, you know, as we mentioned off the top before the interview, he went back to his home country and he said, you know, even things like running water, guys, a toilet, these are things that people take for granted. And so to be able to, you know, come to Canada, take advantage of all the things we have here, and of course, be grateful and thankful for what you have, you know, things that may seem every day. I think that's something everybody needs to remember.
Always thinking about that stuff, you know, because as I get older, you realize, wow, man, you know, anything can change, anything can happen. The only constant is change. We just gotta be ready for it, you know, and like life will always, man. I've seen it, like, you know, as soon as you're comfortable, man, here comes a curveball, you know, that you didn't see coming. And you know, the fact that, you know, he grew up in that, came to Canada, made a whole life for himself, and went back and still had that, oh my God, you know, like not much has changed kind of, you know, I'm sure there have been improvements. That and just the fact of like even just the educational how do we say, like level matching in between countries.
Yeah.
Like we can have doctors, but they're driving Ubers because it's
Doesn't
not,
transfer.
you know, so that's a bit ridiculous. I mean, that's something like we have to work on that kind of stuff because like I said, you know, and I keep saying this so many times, man, like some of these people just can't get the opportunity to get an education, but they could be the ones that will solve so many issues that we have, be it cancer, whatever it may be. Like we don't know, we might have just lost out because of our egos are like, oh, my country has to be better than that country, you know, like that kind of stuff.
It's so true. It's 100% true, man. So, really happy to be able to bring this type of conversation to you guys through our platform. And we really thank you guys for taking the time to join us on this brand new episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to show some love. Hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SoundMojo. New episodes of the show every single week. And of course, we're also available on our audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, anywhere with an RSS feed, you can find the Innersleeve Music Podcast. And make sure to give us a 5-star review if you're enjoying the show. Also, check us out on social media at SoundMojo. We have a ton of different videos on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. And of course, we love being interactive with you guys. So make sure to come drop us a line. We'll say hello. We'll respond to your comments, all that good stuff. Thank you for joining us on this brand new episode of the show. We'll catch you guys next week.